Okay, Ron, why don't we go ahead and get started?
Ready to start?
Yes.
Welcome to the Regional Flood Control Citizens Advisory Committee meeting for November 30th. This will be virtual, and I'm going to turn the meeting over to Steve Parrish. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all had a great holiday weekend. Just a few reminders as we get going through the agenda. We request that any committee members wishing to make a comment, ask a question, or make a motion that you say your name for the record. We will open the floor for questions after presenting each item. Also, after a motion is made and a vote is called for, each committee member will verbally vote. If the vote's unanimous, that will be noted. If there are any nay votes, then a roll call will be completed to accurately identify the vote for the record. This meeting was properly posted and noticed in accordance with the Declaration of Emergency Directive 006, issued by Governor Sisolak on March 22nd, 2020, and subsequent directives that extended this directive until the end of a declaration of the emergency is issued. The directive suspend the requirement contained in NRS for a physical location to be provided for meetings of public bodies. Pursuant to Directive 006, a physical location has not been provided for this meeting. A live stream of the meeting is available at the website posted on the meeting notice. An email address was also provided, publiccomment@regionalflood.org, in the notice of public meeting to allow the public to participate in this meeting. This email address will be monitored during the meeting should any member of the public wish to participate in the final public comment period. Any comments received prior to or during the meeting will be read into the record and will become part of the permanent record. With that, I need to do a voice roll call for all the members present. So if you could make sure that you're off mute when I call your name, if you could respond, I would appreciate it. And we'll start with Chairman Ron Newell.
Present.
Sir. Vice Chair Bill Starmer.
Here.
Thank you. James House. Ed Euling.
Here.
Larry Schultz.
Present.
Herschel Desai.
Here.
Jim Giordano.
Here.
Brian Wilson.
Present.
Norm Ashford.
Present.
Thank you. And Karina Berrigan.
Here.
Thank you. I show 9 members are present, and we do have a quorum. Item 1 is comments by the general public. As noticed on the on the agenda posting, comments by the general public regarding items on this agenda were to be posted to public comment at regionalflood.org. Tammy, could you verify if we had any public comments?
Mr. Chairman, Tammy McMahon for the record. There are no public comments.
Okay, thank you, Tammy. Item 2 is action to approve the agenda with the deletion of any items. Mr. Chair, the agenda is in order for approval. Any discussion?
This is Larry Schultz. I reviewed the agenda and it appears to be in order as you stated. So I would move that the agenda be accepted as presented.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor for approval from Mr. Schultz. Any comments on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. And that motion carries unanimously. Item 3 is action to approve the minutes of the November 2nd, 2020 meeting. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Ron Newell approve the minutes?
I'm sorry, who is that? Ron Newell?
Yes.
Okay. A motion on the floor from Ron Newell for approval. Any discussion on the motion?
Just to say that the minutes of this organization are excellent.
So I appreciate that comment. Thank you. That was Ed Euling, right?
Yes.
I'll get it. Oh. Okay, there's a motion on the floor for approval from Ron Newell. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Item 4 is action to accept the financial reports. Mr. Chair, we did get the September sales tax numbers. Those are not reflected in your backup because the backup was printed before we received these numbers. Just to go over for September, we originally budgeted $8.5 million for the month of September. We actually received $8.9 million, which is about a 4.3% above our budgeted amount, which is really good. For the first 3 months of the fiscal year, we received about $25.6 million, which is about $112,000 above what we budgeted, or about 0.44%. So we're basically right on track. I think we're pretty close to the budgeted amount, which looks good. Next slide, Andrew. Also, at the last meeting, there was a request to include the rolling sales tax chart. So each bar on this chart represents the sum of the previous 12 months of sales tax, which is a good representation. It kind of smooths out the outliers. If we have a really good month or a really poor month, it kind of smooths it out. So you can see that the September numbers are actually lower than September of 2019 or 2019, sorry, by about 8%. So we are down. It does look like the curve is starting to smooth out. Hopefully we'll start seeing it gradually increasing in here in the next few months. But for the most part, things are relatively positive, or at least nothing unexpected. Let's just say that. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, or if there are none, I would recommend you accept the report.
This is Larry Schultz, Clark County. So in looking at this rolling wave chart that you presented here, and I agree, it is a very helpful tool. And as I look starting, let's say in the month of May, to me, as I look at the wave, it's a declining wave each month. And when you said it was starting to flatten out, I'm trying to visualize the flattening when I see the declining. Can you further discuss that?
Yeah, I think if you look at like February, March, April, and even May, you see that the slope downwards a little steeper. And that's mostly due to the closures that were occurring in those months. After May, the closures ended. And so you can kind of see that the drop isn't quite as much as you move into the later months, June, July, August, and September. So what I'm saying is I'm hoping that this is kind of at a bottom of the curve, and we're going to start seeing a gradual climb back up in the next few months, hopefully.
So Steve, again, Larry Schultz, Clark County for the record. So, I too hope that we can have a flattening out to starting to grow again, of course. But in light of the governor's recent announcement of the 3-week pause, and of course, when those things are announced, typically a 3-week pause is no guarantee that it won't continue for another 3 weeks or another 3 weeks after that. And my concern, obviously, is with these pauses, there's a decline of business activity. And with that decline of business activity, there's a decline in sales tax revenue. And that's why I'm just kind of concerned about any optimism in the numbers. But of course, there are others probably in your finance director that are probably closer to the situation than I am. But that's just my immediate concern that I'm sharing with the team.
Yeah, I think what I'm representing here is what the trend line is showing. Obviously, the COVID is a fluid situation, and what happened with the governor recently isn't reflected on this graph because this graph is kind of going back in time to September. And so, it could go up, it could go down, but as of right now, it looks like it's flattening out through September. Now, it could go up or down, and we'll see what happens. Of course, there's lots of things that can affect that, including a federal stimulus, other help that the federal government may be able to provide, and things like that. And you're right, as more businesses have to reduce their activity or close or what have you, it's going to affect the sales tax received.
Thank you,
Hey,
Steve.
Steve, Herschel this side, City of Henderson. First, thank you for including that rolling 12-month revenue chart. I think that's very helpful, so appreciate the staff doing that. The question I had was similar to what Larry was asking. When you did the quarter cent sales tax estimates for the year, do you plan on adjusting that based on this second wave and the new mandates that are set by the governor? So the 104,351,000 that's outlined on the fiscal year 2021. Is there any plan on adjusting those, or for now, you're planning on keeping it the same and see, what comes in and then make the adjustment based on that, or just trying to understand that?
Yeah, at this point, we're not planning on adjusting that number. By the time we're seeing the numbers for October, November, December, we're going to be into January, February, and March, which will be pretty far in the year. So probably will be more reactive in terms of not changing that number, but more adjusting expenditures. If the numbers start coming in lower than it had anticipated, we can always adjust what we approve for construction. But keep in mind, we just issued a bond. So we do have some money to approve for capital improvements, but we have the ability to adjust expenditures based on our revenues coming in. So,
thank you.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion.
Herschel this side, City of Henderson. A motion to approve this agenda item, accept the financial reports.
Thank you, Herschel. There's a motion on the floor to accept the report from Herschel Desai. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Item 5 is action to adopt the amendments to the 10-year construction program. Mr. Chair, these are amendments to the 10-year program for fiscal impacts that occur later in the agenda. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Bill Starmer, City of Las Vegas, move to approve item number 5.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor for approval from Bill Starmer. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. And that motion carries unanimously. Item 6 is action to accept the 7th amendment to the final accounting report and project closeout for the following project, Tropicana Wash at Swenson Construction. You've seen a similar agenda item to this several times now. This is a result of the contractor filing bankruptcy, and it was determined by the court that they owed money. So they're paying that back in installments. And so each time they do that, we need to amend the closeout. So this returns $657.94. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Ed Ewing, Clark County, motion to approve.
There's a motion on the floor for approval from Ed Ewing. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Item 7 is to receive the maintenance work program first quarter fiscal year 2020-2021 status reports as submitted by the entities. The report is in your backup. You can see the different breakdowns of the budgeted amount versus the amount spent for the first quarter. About 10.5% of the funds in total of the budget have been spent, which is actually a little higher than we normally see at this point in time. Usually we're in the 3 to 6% range, so it's nice to see the entities spending the money down quickly. There's no action required on this item. It's just to receive a report, but happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Yes, this is Larry Schultz, Clark County. I do have a question. Steve, you mentioned that this is data that's reported by the different entities for their respective maintenance work activities. Is that correct?
Yes.
So when these reports are received within your office, what, if anything, other than just administratively compiling the total document, does your professional staff do in terms of review and assessment of these reports?
Well, the staff is responsible every time we get a payment that goes out on the maintenance work. They'll review it at the time the payment is made. So really what we're doing with this report is monitoring the budget and where they're at on the budget, whether they need to shift money to other areas or to other facilities, that type of thing. So first quarter, usually there's not a whole lot of activity, but as we get more towards the third and fourth quarters, there's a need usually for the entities to shift money around. And that's how we kind of keep track of that through this report.
So again, Larry Schultz, Clark County. So other than financial monitoring, is there any monitoring that occurs where the actual effort performed is related to the money spent to determine the qualitative value for the money spent? Or is that something that's totally left to the entities for their management oversight?
No, we go through each item as they come in for payment to make sure that it's something that we should be paying on. And we keep track of what facilities are being maintained. And so they give us a report typically that says what the work that was done and then how much was spent on that work. So it's reviewed. Those go to the engineering team that are responsible for that jurisdiction. So for example, North Las Vegas goes to one of our engineers, Henderson goes to another engineer, and they review those pay apps to make sure that they're appropriate.
And so the engineers that review it within your team then periodically have some hands-on first-hand experience in terms of having seen the work done periodically just to make sure there's a confidence level?
Yeah, they're very familiar with their areas, and so they usually know when work is being done. They also periodically go out with the maintenance personnel, particularly during the budget time, and go through what needs to be done in different locations, type of thing. So they're pretty engaged.
Thank you, Steve. That was very helpful, and it was good to get that and get some of the background. Thank you again.
Welcome.
Hey, Steve, Harsha this side, City of Henderson. Quick question. On City of Henderson, there's around $800,000 in expenditure. Of that, $750,000 were for cleaning a detention basin. Which was that Northeast C1 detention basin? And I think it was Northeast C1 detention basin. So was that just removing the sediment and debris, or was there any other construction work that was done on that particular detention basin?
Yeah, they actually had a project. They hired a contractor to do this work. So it was actually bid, I think, last fiscal year, and it's rolling into this fiscal year to get it finished up. But yeah, there was more work than just cleaning out debris. I think there was some work to a channel, and they were putting some riprap in, some new riprap and things like that. I think Al's on the call. If you want to chime in and expand on that, feel free.
Sure, I can expand on that a little bit. So we actually had two basins included in that contract. It was Northeast C1 and East C1. East C1, we had significant concrete repair in the spillway due to vandalism, and we also put in methods to limit access to the spillway to help prevent that vandalism in the future. And then we also did clean out sediment in the northeast C1 and in the channel, but we also had some repairs in the channel to the, what do you call it, the lining and the berm part of it, so soil cement. And then we also did add some grouted riprap in the areas that showed significant erosion from the offsite basins coming into the northeast C1.
Thank you, Al. Thank you, Steve.
Sure. Any other questions? Okay, with that, we'll move on to item 8, which is action to approve the first supplemental interlocal contract for construction to extend the project completion date for Range Wash and Branch Phase 1, City of North Las Vegas. This is just an extension of time. This project has completed construction. The city is just working on their paperwork to get things closed up, and they'll be closing this contract out shortly. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Ron Newell approval.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor for approval from Ron Newell. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Item 9 is action to approve the first supplemental interlocal contract for maintenance to increase funding and include facility NLV 19 to the FY 2021 maintenance work program, City of North Las Vegas. This section of channel on Las Vegas Wash was inadvertently left out of the maintenance work program for North Las Vegas. So that error has been caught, and now we're adding it in so that that area can be maintained. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
This is Larry Schultz, Clark County, and make a motion for item 9 to accept the supplemental local contract to add the missing piece of work.
I think there's a motion on the floor for approval from Larry Schultz. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Item 10 is action to approve a request to reallocate funding within the interlocal contract for design for the Pittman North Detention Basin and Outfall, City of Henderson. Mr. Chair, this project has completed construction as well, but they are in the process of preparing and submitting a letter of map revision to FEMA to change the flood zone as a result of the construction. So they're adjusting the dollars to pay for different items in different line items. There's no fiscal impact. It's just a reallocation of funding. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion?
Herschel Desai, City of Henderson. Just a quick question. You said the construction is complete?
Yes.
So then why is the conditional letter of map revision being submitted? Generally, it's submitted before the construction. So
It's the letter of map revision they're working on, not the condition.
oh, no, okay. Thank you. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Entertain a motion.
Bill
Ron
Starr,
Newell for approval.
Las Vegas, move to approve item number 10.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor from Bill Starmer for approval. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. And that motion carries unanimously. Item 11 is action to approve the first supplemental interlocal contract for design to increase funding for Owens Avenue System, Vegas, storm drain, Shadow Mountain to Jones. Mr. Chair, this is a supplement with a fiscal impact of $506,048. This additional money is needed to cover the negotiated design costs for the consultant. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Norm Ashford, City of Mesquite,
Move to approve.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor for approval from Norm Ashford. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Item 12 is comments by the general public. As noticed on the agenda posting, comments by the general public regarding any issue related to the Regional Flood Control District or to be posted to public comment at regionalflood.org. Tammy, could you verify if there were any public comments and read those if there are?
Mr. Chairman, Tammy McMahon for the record, there are no public comments.
Thank you. And with that, that concludes our agenda. And thank you everyone for calling in. And once again, hope you had a happy Thanksgiving holiday. And we'll look forward to talking to you next month.
Thank you,
comments
Steve.
any comments from the
Thanks.
committee?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank
Hey, Steve,
Yeah.
is your staff okay now? Or are they still?
Yeah, we did have one